Boys and girls, weather report for March 14th, 2022. And I have a big birthday today. Bigger than the normal birthdays that you guys celebrate. So I'm 26,000 days old today. How about that shit? I don't feel a day over 90,000.
The big 26K.
The big is also, as people in chat mentioned, Pi Day.
Yeah, it's Pi Day.
Which I did not even notice, so that's cool.
Well, I thought is it PI Pi or PIE Pi? Both would be okay with me.
Well, Vesta spelled it Vesta Freya
spelled it PIE.
Yeah.
But what better way than to celebrate Pi Day with a synonymous dessert?
Right.
So Standing for Truth has a big spiel he does on how all the creationists do about horse evolution.
Oh dear.
Because they're full of shit. And sorry.
Yeah. horse evolution is like, I mean, as far as intermediate fossils, it's probably the best we have, right?
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and then like the manatees are real good too because they've found fossils all along the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico and wherever.
To demonstrate how much creationists don't know about intermediate fossils, or I should say transitional fossils, in relation to whale evolution, like you keep hearing, like when you show them a walking whale fossil, as they're called, they often say, "Oh, that looks just like a crocodile." I mean. Yeah, but no, that's kind of the point, but also not the point. I don't know. It just amuses me.
Yep. Listening to Standing for Truth is really hard for me because he is such a bullshitter, and he displays this confidence that and raw math too, and it's almost like. You're dealing with, like you're listening to somebody say something really dumb and they're saying it with such confidence that you're shocked. You're actually, it makes you uncomfortable.
Ever heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell it is. It's really interesting. Like Standing for Truth, I think he became a creationist when he was in his 20s. And he is so, for some reason, he ignores so much data, and I mean, he's just like a block of rock when it comes to reasoning with him about anything, right? And yet he's out there sputtering, just with great confidence, like any minister, pastor, or whatever, preacher, and it just blows me away.
MLM enthusiast.
So the guys.
I wonder if anyone has titled it like "Standing for Truth: The Ministry of Falsity" or something along those lines.
Yeah, I love it how these guys they wave. They'll like wave their flag in victory. When I had a debate or I had a discussion and I just destroyed all their talking points and this and they're always waving that victory flag on any conversation or anything that they have.
Yeah, is he a little narcissistic? Is that what it is?
Little Peepee does it. A lot of them. A lot of them do it. Yeah.
I just imagine, what if someone did like a political kind of cartoon where it's a creationist, like you said, waving a white or a flag on top of a little pile of bodies, like they're unconscious, and then in the next slide it just zooms out and it's in the midst of a bigger crowd just walking around them.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, okay, buddy.
Hey, Algorithm and Vesta, hello.
Algorithm.
Hello, Top Dog. I guess we don't have too many people watching today. We've been getting low turnout lately. I don't know. My fans are.
Were you going to show that Standing for Truth clip?
You mean the?
Yeah, I like to see what claims he makes, at least.
Oh, what did they find?
Yeah.
One? Yeah. Hang on a second. Let me get my stuff together and see if my stuff is together. Okay, stuff's together. Now
you're not turning out much. I'm going to make you turn out stuff.
Let's see.
The deposits of that, you start to get passive margin closing type deposits. That's probably why you get a.
Okay. Hang on a second.
That was Stephen Baumann.
Yeah, I got to shut some things off.
Indeed, Vesta.
Hold on. There we go.
Geez, how many tabs do you have open?
Quite a few. Okay.
You can get a lot of tabs open without realizing it.
I don't understand you people.
Well, you just open up one tab at a time, Andrew?
Yeah, I try to save as much space as I can.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. Different people internet differently.
It's frugal.
I usually only have a few, like maybe 3 at the most.
Yeah. I usually only have a few, except when I'm going on like question forums and I just open up a bunch of the same responses to questions. So, okay, what does this person say? What does this person say? But other than that, I just keep like a minimum of a couple tabs open.
Well, when I'm doing papers, I have a whole list of papers that they have PDFs available for, and then the ones they don't, and then, oh my God, I just go from one thing to another, and then I duplicate the tab, and then that spawns new tabs. And they have little baby tabs, and that has baby tabs. And that's why I have 28 raccoons.
And that all had something to do with each other? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I have 28 raccoons. I have 28 raccoons, and it is springtime. It is the time when they start breeding. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. You're probably going to double or triple that number, right?
Yeah,
sooner or later. An opportunity to learn more about more raccoons.
They're going to be standing on each other's shoulders and leaning against the glass, right? And eventually they're going to bust in.
Well, what happened like last year? How many did you have? Did you have far less? Like, say, go back 2 seasons. How many did you have back then?
Oh, 10, 12. And
really?
Then, last year, it was in the 20s, low 20s all the time. And then this year it's starting out. And the thing is that it usually starts out in the spring low and then goes higher and higher. Yeah. And I'm already at 28 last night. So.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and the other problem with this is there's an ordinance in the city where I live, and I got a feeling that I'm not supposed to be doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, you definitely. I'm sure you're not.
Yeah.
They
get angry.
Yep.
Molecular Alchemy is in the side chat, by the way, guys.
Hey, wow, I haven't seen you for a while.
I know. Let's see.
We could, we could even put a link out there and open it up.
Yeah, okay. Why not?
Sure. I will do that. Let's open up, maybe get Molecular in here to account for himself, sir.
Yeah, account for yourself. And Carol, the 406 atheist.
It'd be nice to have. I'd love to get Vesta Frey in here. She's always so good to, make comments and stuff. It'd be cool to talk to her.
So is Carol, the 406 atheist, married to Neil, the 604 atheist?
I do not know. That's why we need to get her in the live stream.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to play this little raw map thing here.
Oh dear.
Oh, look at this. Oh, this is incredible. Map Man. Why am I not getting audio? Oh, I know why.
This was supposed to be sound.
Use that logo. Is that part of it?
So.
Hey, Top Dog.
And it just as
a hot dog on top.
I was told about this video by Bond, George Bond, and he was correct. This video by young Earth creationist Ian Juby is one of my favorites. So I took this portion or segment out of his longer video, which had many other topics in it, and I just extracted this clip. So I hope you guys enjoy, and don't forget to follow Ian on his channel called Wazaloo. The link is in the description box below.
In 1977, a Japanese fishing trawler was drag netting off the coast of New Zealand near Christchurch. With their nets some 300 meters deep, they snagged the 10-meter-long carcass of a strange creature weighing in at about 2 tons. The creature sure looked like a plesiosaurus.
Okay. So doesn't he usually wear a lab coat or one of those geologist get-ups or something like that, Ian Juby? He's surprisingly underdressed for this video. But
I've already listened to a minute of this, and he's already made a crucial mistake.
That it looks like?
Well, that looks like he said a plesiosaurus, but plesiosaurus lived in the Jurassic period, not the Cretaceous, when at most is when it could have survived and lived on into something else. So
yeah,
it was already extinct.
We already know those are whale carcasses that rotted away.
I guess, yeah, I found a little thing on that from Talk Origins.
Of rotting flesh was dripping liquid fat onto the deck. They didn't have the foggiest clue what this creature was, and here they were, thousands of miles from home. They didn't want it spoiling their catch, their livelihood. So the section chief, Michihiko Yano, took photographs, a few samples of some strange fibers from one of the flippers, noted multiple observations, and drew some sketches.
Those strange fibers would be collagen and tendons and things like that. I don't know why he called them strange fibers.
Because he doesn't know his stuff. We'll say stuff.
Note that this is a fishing boat. Okay. Note that it is a fishing boat. I have a question, I think, later.
They then threw the carcass back into the ocean. When they got back to Japan, the photographs were developed and drawings were handed over to several researchers. Dr. Fujio Yasuda, who was a professor of ichthyology, the study of fish, at Tokyo University, and Professor Yasunori Imaizumi, oh boy, I hope I said that right, who was the Director General of Animal Research at the National Science Museum. After seeing the photographs and drawings and hearing the testimonies of Yano and the other shipmates, Imaizumi remarked that it's a reptile and the sketch looks very like a plesiosaurus. He further remarked that the evidence seemed to show that these animals are not extinct after all. It's impossible for only one to have survived. There must be a group. A commemorative stamp was issued celebrating the discovery in 1977. Everyone was in agreement concerning this astonishing find. Yet the following year, a mysterious thing happened. A team of French scientists became involved, and a symposium was assembled that concluded it was merely the corpse of a dead basking shark.
Oh my God, the French, right?
Are the French got together to decide that?
Yeah, they decided it was a shark, but they were French. Okay, you know about the French.
You know them. You can't trust them.
Can't trust the French.
For a moment to evaluate the situation in 1977. These people were experts in their field. First of all, the entire ship was a fishing trawler. These people spent their life on the ocean. Do you not think they would know a dead basking shark when they saw one?
That doesn't mean they're experts in fishing matters.
That makes them experts. It just makes them experts in catching fish. That's it.
Well,
I could be an expert, working with plumbing doesn't mean you're an expert in the mechanics of how plumbing or the technology of it works. I mean, you just know how to do it.
It just makes you good at flushing a toilet. That's it.
Yeah.
Why would they know about dinosaurs?
Okay. We need to see if God equals the square root of 1 is alone in his observation. That he's seeing Jabba the Hutt in that video.
I think so. Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Just I don't want to leave him hanging.
Yep. Yeah.
He's confirmed one another specifically and refuted a dead basking shark interpretation right out of the chute. Michihiko Yano, the section chief who took the photos, was actually a trained marine biologist. In fact, his education outranked many of the people on the 1978 symposium, and they acknowledged.
Why was he on a fishing boat?
Well, they go out in the water, and that's where all the marine biology is.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, just
this fact. Do you not think Yano would have known a dead basking shark when he saw one?
Apparently
Professor Imaizumi was the Director General of Animal Research at the National Science Museum. Do you not think...
Hey, can we do a Danikins?
Was he on the boat? That second guy that he mentioned? No.
I'm not sure. But, just because you are a marine biologist doesn't mean you're that expert in the, forensics of marine biology, like what rotting carcasses look like in various stages. Even forensic scientists, in the 20th and 21st century, well, not 21st, but in the 20th century, had to learn more about decomposition because nobody had ever thought to study, what happens with rotting carcasses. So now you have a dead critter out in the ocean, which is a totally different environment. So in 77, I don't know. I'm just asking the question, raising the skeptical question of how much these scientists really know about dead
Right, very little research at that time. Right, exactly.
I mean, not only that, but he said they took pictures or drew sketches of it. Like, if that's all they had to work with, then I think a bunch of mistakes are going to pop up naturally.
And may I also, I don't know why I'm saying also, but I feel like I'm turning into Popeye. May I also ask about measurements? Did they measure things, and how does the proportions of the fins or whatever in this carcass compare to a plesiosaur?
That's a good question.
Why did nobody ask that question? Or maybe they'll deal with it. I doubt it, because they don't know stuff.
Well, I think people have dealt with it here. I have
this is the reason why you need to get other expert opinions before you make a conclusion like that.
Yes, Nerdy
Rodent
just
doesn't happen overnight.
Exactly. Nerdy Rodent brings up body farms, and yeah, that's a cool thing.
Yeah, they have that. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. See,
somebody needs to make a 3D model of this skeleton and see if it looks like a basking shark.
Well, they don't have it anymore. They threw it back. They took a picture.
Yeah.
I mean, the pictures could give you a clue of the 3D model. I mean, a modeler.
So
maybe a little bit, but
who does this Ian Juby claim to be? What is his expertise? Does anybody know? Okay, we'll look that up in a minute. I'll look that up while we're playing this.
Okay. Known a dead basking shark when he saw one. What followed out of the symposium was suspicious and frankly stifled further scientific research, but certainly stopped questioning of evolutionism caused by the find. The symposium did not take testimony from Yano, a trained marine biologist who had more education on the topic than many of them, and had examined the corpse firsthand.
Okay, can we pause it there for a sec? I hate when they imply it in such a way that rejection of previous findings is not quote unquote good scientific research.
Right.
I mean,
yeah,
that's part of the process. I mean, if we just looked for new ideas all the time, didn't narrow anything down, then we wouldn't really get anywhere, at least not as efficiently as we are now. So I really don't like the way he's implying that.
Yeah, so 39-year-old Yano, his expert, is a graduate of the Yamaguchi Oceanological High School. What the fuck?
What?
Okay, he's calling this guy a bigger expert than all the other experts that looked at this, right?
Maybe they call universities their high schools.
High schools? I don't know. Not sure. Anyway, we'd have to check that out.
Well, according to Rational Wiki, Ian Juby has no doctorates, and they have not found any degrees that he actually holds, although his own website, I think, talks about him being some sort of engineer. But
yeah, and
none of that gives him any kind of credibility.
Yeah. I think he claims to be a professor, or he's presented as a professor and a paleontologist, whatever, and claims to be a member of Mensa.
Yeah, they do talk about how he talks about how high his IQ is all the time.
It don't look that high from here. Okay.
Their bizarre conclusion that was loaded with contradictions. I, for one, would like to go back over there with a submarine robot, as the oceans are still the most unexplored place on planet Earth. And Imaizumai was right. It's impossible for only one to have survived. Malcolm Bowden, publishing his analysis 22 years ago, solidly refuted the basking shark hypothesis, which anti-creationists latched onto and heavily promoted. But Bowden was also careful to say it was a plesiosaur-like creature. There was differences between the corpse and anything we know from the fossil record, even though our knowledge from the fossil record is certainly...
Oh my God, who's that guy? Malcolm Bowden, Creation Science Movement? I'll have to look him up.
Incomplete. Let's analyze this. Whenever Jaws showed up in the movie, aside from the music, how did you know Jaws had arrived? Dun, 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 dun. The dorsal fin. Hey, where's the dorsal fin? Take a look at the photos yourself. Where's the dorsal fin? All of the experienced fishermen on the boat described the exact same thing. It reeked of rotting flesh and was dripping fat off the corpse. Sharks give off ammonia when they decay, not the smell of rotting flesh. And sharks do not have fat under their skin. 2 more strikes against the basking shark. Look at the red flesh. Basking sharks do not have red flesh. Strike 4. The corpse was dredged up from 900 feet below the surface. When they die, basking sharks float. Mammals sink.
Oh my God. Oh no.
Wait. What did he say? Go back a few seconds.
He said if they die, they float.
Just replay the last few seconds. I want to make sure I heard it properly.
Strike 5. Die. The corpse was dredged up from 900 feet below the surface. When they die, basking sharks float. Mammals sink. Strike 5.
What?
Human bodies float too for a while.
Plesiosaurs are not mammals.
Oh, did he say mammal?
He said mammal.
What, darling? We'll go outside.
Well, he was referring to just whether they float or not. So mammals float and
okay, listen.
The red flesh. Basking sharks do not have red flesh. Strike 4. The corpse was dredged up from 900 feet below the surface. When they die, basking sharks float. Mammals sink. Strike 5.
What the fuck?
I don't know. It sounds fishy to me.
Where did you get that from?
Mammals? So he thinks it's a mammal. Okay.
I don't know, but it seems that way.
It sounds like he thinks the plesiosaur is a mammal. Interesting. Okay. And the other thing is that anything dead is not going to float forever. It's obviously going to decompose, break open.
Yeah, it's going to sink eventually.
And sink. And as far as the color of the flesh, no, you're not gonna look at decomposing flesh and make some determination based on color.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert or anything, but I'm pretty sure sharks have red flesh and blood. Yeah, I mean, most vertebrates do. So
it's a little whiter usually the meat you get, but I'm pretty sure that they.
Yeah, I mean, there are some fish that. Go ahead.
He also said that the fat doesn't happen in sharks. They don't have fat. I mean,
that I don't know for sure. We'd have to check all these facts.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to find this Bowden guy. Okay, so there's more.
The creature had 4 large diamond-shaped flippers in proportion matching the plesiosaurus and in direct contradiction to any kind of shark. Look at them yourself. Here you can see the 2 front flippers, and the rear flippers are just off camera and almost the same size as the front ones. Strike 6. The covering of strong dermal fibers, which is visible even in the photographs, is found in mammals, not sharks. Strike 7.
Mammals.
The nares or nostril openings are on the front of the skull, not like sharks. Strike 8. The head was hard bone, not cartilage like what is found in sharks. In fact, Bill Cooper pointed out another observation from the photos. Look at this cable right here.
Okay, pause for a sec.
It's under strain and
sorry, just real quick. So I looked this up in 5 seconds. The top searches I found: sharks store oily substances in their liver, which I think helps them keep buoyant, and store energy in fatty substances or something like that. So I'm pretty sure that his claim that sharks don't have oils or fats is just false.
Right. And
on the outside.
And in the beginning, he said that when they hauled it up on deck, it was leaking oil, like liquid fat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. There's more.
Being pushed by the bony skeleton of the creature. The cartilaginous skeleton of a shark would flex and give way to the cable and not put it under tension. Strike 9. The fibers that were collected by...
Wait a minute. Okay. The cartilage of a shark is pretty fucking tough for one thing. And if you can hoist a shark up, he's saying that it wouldn't hold the cable under tension because it's soft. If you're hoisting something up, the cable's going to be taut.
Yeah, I mean it's weight, not
right.
I mean, yeah, the softness doesn't have anything to do with being able to be. Unless he's saying that it should, just like the hook or whatever, should go straight through, and you'd lose the carcass. But
so yeah, I can see where they get this Mensa thing.
Were analyzed, and in some ways the amino acids match those found deep in the fin of a shark, whereas in other ways the amino acids were very different. First of all,
okay. They're talking about they're talking about DNA, right? But he's talking about amino acids, and we'll roll this back.
Thanks, algorithm.
You want to listen to the whole thing
and not put it under strain and being pushed by the bony skeleton of the creature. The cartilaginous skeleton of a shark would flex and give way to the cable and not put it under tension.
Oh, okay.
Strike 9. The fibers that were collected by Yano were analyzed, and in some ways the amino acids match those found deep in the fin of a shark, whereas in other ways the amino acids were very different. First of all, if it really is a basking shark, then the amino acids should be an exact match, not a close match, and with several contradictions. Secondly, you have to have a living plesiosaur with which to compare. Thirdly, amino acid similarity is pretty meaningless. Rattlesnake heart amino acids called cytochrome C are nearly identical to the cytochrome C found in humans.
Okay.
No.
No.
That's
okay. So if they did an analysis of this thing, they probably did a DNA analysis. So it had nothing to do with amino acids. If a few nucleotides were different from one species of shark or one particular population that they sampled, that would be expected. It doesn't have to be an exact match. But then he's saying, between rattlesnakes and whales, it doesn't have to be an exact match anyway. So he contradicted himself in one.
Well, I said something like cytochrome C amino acids are very similar, so it's meaningless. Well, of course they're very similar. It's a very conserved protein among most vertebrates, most animals, living things. So it's going to get less and less similar the farther and farther back in phylogenetic history you go. But so I mean, if you're just comparing two vertebrates, it's going to be pretty similar.
So this Mensa genius just figured out that plesiosaurs were mammals, number one. Number two, he made some sort of weird physical mistake about whether the rope would be taut or not. Number three, instead of nucleotide analysis, he thinks it's amino acids. Number four, he thinks that there has to be some, like he talked about the proteins that were in the middle of the fin, right? I mean, it doesn't matter if you're doing a tissue. Basically, if you're doing a genetic analysis, it doesn't matter where the fuck you get the sample. You know, you could get the thing's saliva. You could swab it with a Q-tip, and you're going to get the same DNA.
Did they do any sampling before they threw it away?
Yeah, he took samples of these ropey tendons, I think, in the fin or something. I got an article on it, but we can go over that after we do this. I don't know what else he's got. I mean, this is
CRISPR saying something sciencey, so I thought.
Look, CRISPR is saying it's able to distinguish vertebrate species, but I thought that was mitochondrial cytochrome C only. I don't know. I might be mistaken.
Yeah, but he's far from talking about barcoding.
So, has anybody caught another one?
No. But he wants to go back with a sub and find some more. And even if they did find a population of plesiosaurs somewhere, it doesn't have a damn thing to do with evolution. Sorry. They're just going to be different than the fossil finds, I'm guessing.
Maybe it's only just one tiny little population, one species. Like,
Yep. Anyway, let's roll.
So you can find matching amino acids in reptiles and humans. Any one of those strikes demonstrates that is no basking shark. And here we have 10 strikes against. No, this was a plesiosaur-like creature that was still recently living. And you can read Malcolm Bowden's excellent analysis in his book, or you can read it online. The plesiosaurs are loosely considered marine dinosaurs. And the possibility that dinosaurs are not extinct is a fun topic for which there is surprising evidence. But if a living dinosaur were captured today, would that cause evolutionists to abandon their religion? Of course not. Just look what happened with the coelacanth. Its shocking discovery was likened to finding a triceratops grazing on the grass in your backyard. A living dinosaur would simply be met with comments of...
Yeah, there's a reason why we didn't abandon evolution when we found the coelacanth.
Yeah, I think we've covered that before, that just because something has not gone extinct doesn't mean evolution is it's even relevant to evolution.
Well, I mean, coelacanths were living different species in the Cretaceous. That's like a 60, 70 million year gap. And I'm pretty sure that, at least for some groups, there are gaps like that around. So the coelacanth isn't entirely unique there.
I love it how he called evolution a religion. That reminds me of Joel.
Yeah.
Or Kent.
Yeah. I don't know what they mean by that. Do they mean that we go to a church every Saturday and worship?
They basically equate religious with belief, and yeah. I'm sure I can believe anything. That doesn't make it a religion.
And at the same time, if he thinks that's a dig, then he's saying that religion is a bad thing, right? Whatever.
It's amazing that they've survived all these hundreds of millions of years. I say that because that's exactly what they said in response to finding living coelacanths.
Yeah.
But finding a living dinosaur might cause some to then accept the currently unacceptable evidence of originally preserved biomatter in dinosaur remains and dinosaur and human footprints found together. But Ian, wait. If you're suggesting dinosaurs are still alive, does that mean Noah would have brought some on the ark to survive the flood? How is that even possible?
So brilliant, that guy. So brilliant. Okay. So, okay, talk origins. Let's see. Did I grab that? I did. Okay, talk origins. A decayed carcass accidentally netted by a Japanese trawler near New Zealand in 1977 has often been claimed by creationists and others to be a likely plesiosaur prehistoric sea monster. Plesiosaurs were a group of long-necked predatory marine reptiles, not mammals, with 4 paddle-like limbs, thought to have gone extinct with the dinosaurs about 65 million years ago. Let's see. Lab results from tissue samples taken from the carcass before it was discarded strongly point to the specimen being a shark, and most likely a basking shark. This should not be surprising since basking sharks are known to decompose into pseudo-plesiosaur forms. So apparently this has happened before, and their carcasses have been mistaken for sea monsters many times in the past. Unfortunately, the results of scientific studies on the carcass data received less media attention than the early sensational reports, allowing widespread misconceptions about this case to continue circulating.
Unknown caller.
Ooh, hang on.
I mean, so there's information out there, but the creationists ignored it. Is that what we're saying, or am I being too harsh?
They don't do the research, so they're not going to even have a possibility to ignore it.
It's a good thing I got that phone call. I found out that my automobile warranty has expired.
Oh gosh, you got to get that taken care of right away.
I know. Oh my God. Okay, so let's see here. Fishing vessel named Zuyo Maro. It was trolling for mackerel. Withdrawn forward, placed it on the deck. Yano announced to the captain it's a rotten whale. However, as Yano got better look at the creature, he became less sure. About 17 of the crew members saw the carcass, some who speculated it might be a giant turtle with the shell peeled off. No one on board was sure. There's some pictures of the thing. It looks pretty rotted to me. Looks like that would have sunk. I don't know. I can't see that floating no matter what the fuck it is.
Should have got a closer look at the skull or brainstem area.
Yeah, so I don't know. Doesn't look that much like a plesiosaur to me, to be honest.
Okay, fell on the deck. So 39-year-old Yano, a graduate of the Yamaguchi Oceanological High School, to examine the creature more closely. He was unable to identify it. Yano felt it was definitely unusual, prompting him to take a set of measurements along with 5 photographs using a camera. The total length of the carcass measured 10 meters. Yano also removed 32 pieces of horny fiber from an anterior fin in hopes of aiding future identification. The creature was then released over the side and sank back. All of this took place within an hour. About 2 months later, Yano made a sketch of the carcass, which unfortunately conflicts with some of his own measurements. And they have statements on that. And then let's see, where did they do an analysis? I'm trying to find out where they did I linked all this in the description, guys, by the way. We're spending a lot of time on this, but let's see. Preliminary report on biochemical tests, ion exchange chromatography on the tissue samples. So they did do apparently protein analysis. Similar in nature to the fin rays, a group of living animals. Let's see, living animals referred to were sharks. However, the report failed to state this plainly, leading to further confusion. What else here? Yeah, and the Japanese were excited about this, so they made a stamp. What else? Oh, let's see. Yeah, it would not threaten the concept of evolution at all. Doesn't make a difference. Let's see. What else do they say?
Yeah, exactly. They say crocodiles, lizards, birds, they all survive. That doesn't really...
Here's a diagram of how the sharks decompose. Having that, small head and everything else below apparently decomposes. A pseudo-plesiosaur. Anyway, this is also linked in the description. Oh, gross amino acid analysis. It was amino acid analysis of the carcass samples, but that's gross amino acid. Okay, that's not gonna tell them a fuck ton. That could tell you. I'd probably give you a species match, right? Closely matched elastoidin from a known basking shark. Collagenous protein known only from sharks and rays. Okay. So they did a test on that. The match was especially impressive when known basking shark elastoidin was treated with an antiseptic sodium hypochlorite solution. So anyway, pretty conclusive proof that it was a shark. So
Robert C. seems to be liking the way you've been doing the show lately.
Oh, well, good. Somebody else said they liked the Maddox work we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that was Maddox himself, was it? I'm not sure if he likes the work that we're doing, but
I don't know. Maybe he likes the attention. He believes it gives him more viewers, which I don't know.
This gets into great depth on the picture and on the anatomy and everything. So this is.
You mean they looked at all the data that was available about that particular catch and then made conclusions rather than just focusing on the ones that agree with you?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Ian Juby's a piece of work. And Raw Matt, just like, his head exploded when he saw this. This is going to be slam dunk proof on their channel for the next year.
No skepticism.
Yeah.
No research.
When was his video published? Raw Matt?
I think that was yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Or the day before or something. I thought I'd heard about this before, but somewhere I'm pretty sure it's been around creationist circles forever. But apparently Raw Matt, the fruit bat, just found it. Yep. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of references. Oh my God, they got references. Talk Origins has about 50 references here, including Todd Wood. Yep.
It's almost like knowing the source material is important for coming to credible conclusions.
Yep. Yeah, you got a lot of references. Anybody that wants to dig into this one, if you're going to debate one of these bozos, you might want to dig into it a little bit. Biggest dickus. Oh God, no! Stupid Horror Energy is speaking Latin to us now. Anyway,
dirty Latin.
Well, I agree with her. Anyway, silence. Okay, what else we got going? Okay,
we're gonna show that SFT clip. Snow.
Which one?
The horse evolution.
Horse. Oh, that wasn't SFT. That was. What did they think? What do you think they found? That was. Let's see. We got Professor Dave is explaining psychology, developmental psychology. Put that video out today. That's on there. And we have this one. This is Benji Thomas, and this is a real person. It's not a fake person talking about.
Oh yeah, I know Benji Thomas.
Okay, you do. Okay.
Oh, so this isn't a creationist video?
No. It's 44 minutes long, and it gets way in depth on horse evolution.
Well, now I'm disappointed.
Oh, are you? Oh, well.
I want to take apart some SFT claims.
Okay, we got to find some.
Quit salivating, Andrew.
Should we spend more time on SFT or should we not?
We should. We've been spending a lot of time on Maddox lately.
Yeah, we have. But look at there's hardly. I don't see any intermediates here at all.
Yeah. Want to make that full screen? Maybe you can tell more easily.
You could maybe. You could.
I still don't see any.
Let's see. I don't know what we're looking at here exactly. Wait a minute. What in the hell? What is happening right now? I don't know what's happening right now.
Do you need us to call 911?
Yeah, call 911. I had the wrong thing up. Okay. Sorry about that.
Oh, this is the horse.
No, I don't know what this is exactly. This is okay. Many. Well,
this looks like Brontosphere evolution.
Let's play this a little bit here, where he starts out.
Broken rib that's thought to potentially be due to wrestling with another Megacerops. The Brontospheres were around for quite a while, living from 56 million years ago at the start of the Eocene, all the way to the end of it about 34 million years ago. But unlike the equids, they left no surviving members. However, interestingly enough, like the equids, they've actually had their own evolution portrayed as a ladder, this time by the infamous Henry Fairfield Osborn of the American Museum of Natural History. In the early 20th century, Osborn promoted the idea of Brontosphere evolution being a progression from small, hornless forms through to the giant horned beasts that lived later. Whereas in fact, much like horse evolution, it was far more complicated than this and with many different branching lineages. But that's a story for another video. The other important group of hippomorphs is Paleotheriidae, the research history of which is actually very closely intertwined with the horses. The Paleotheres lived throughout Europe and Asia from the early Eocene about 55 million years ago through to the early part of the Oligocene, 33 million years ago, and were mostly quite small, forest-dwelling animals, though some species actually grew quite large and managed to reach sizes comparable to modern horses. The Paleotheres were actually some of the very first prehistoric mammals to be scientifically described, when in 1804, the famous French naturalist Georges Cuvier examined a specimen and determined that it must have been some kind of ancient tapir-like organism. Then, as I mentioned briefly before, Huxley considered the Paleotheres to represent the earliest record of equids in Europe, and in fact these animals have been confused with the earliest horses many times in the past, but they're no longer considered to be included within Equidae.
Yeah, so horse evolution is obviously as complex as Homo sapiens. They're finding out there were a lot of branches and a lot of false starts, and they've corrected themselves a number of times. And this video goes over it pretty thoroughly.
Can you link this in the description?
Yeah, that's going to be worth a watch.
Yeah, it's worth a watch. And he gets, let's see, what does he get into? He gets into some other stuff here. Let's see, he gets into the hooves the hooves and the circulation, I think. Okay.
Known as the digital cushion.
How do I shut off subtitles? Okay. So he gets into the circulation and anatomy of horse hooves and the the development from what was it, 5 toes or 4 toes down to 2 or something, or 3, something like that. 1 and 5 disappeared, right, on the horse, I think. Anyway, it's really a good watch, and he gets into quite a bit of anatomy, very thorough. So Benji Thomas, I've watched a few other things by him, and they're pretty good. So anyway, there's that. Sorry, I don't have any FST stuff for you. Oh, wait a minute. I do have SFT stuff.
Oh, boy.
It's like Christmas. Wipe the sides of your mouth there, Andrew, and stop salivating, and we'll go over some SFT stuff.
Yeah, Andrew, I have to talk to you offline about something related to that.
Anyway, sure, no problem.
At some point. Anyway,
I got time.
Yep. On John Maddox's channel, SFT does these little diatribes, right? These little preachy diatribes, and I've clipped a whole bunch of them. But I'll tell you what, I'll see if I can put a bunch of them together for you for Wednesday.
Okay.
And then we can. Are you on spring break?
Yeah, for this week, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Wednesday would be good then. We'll go through that.
I might be doing something Wednesday actually, but every other day I'm good.
Oh, Wednesday is the weather report. At this time, you'll be doing something?
Yeah, I'll be doing something at 3 my time.
Andrew,
that would be like in the middle of your stream.
Speaking of spring break, I don't want to see you on any weird, wild and crazy spring break videos or whatever.
John Peterson is not planning on returning, though I have talked to John in the last couple of weeks, and he's doing okay. He's been on Clubhouse a little bit, so.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. Yep.
Yeah, so he is coming back, and I think Danny was giving him shit because he's on Clubhouse as J. Pete instead of John Peterson or something. He was saying Danny was accusing him of hiding. I guess Danny's on Clubhouse a lot too. So, you remember Danny? Anybody remember Danny? Nope, nobody remembers.
Well, I'm searching my memory banks.
Nope, don't remember no Danny. Yeah. Anyway,
hey Jefferson.
It's Jefferson and Randolph. Don't forget Randolph now.
Hey Randolph.
For Jefferson.
Randolph remembers Danny.
They always come in at 5 or right around 5. And then we got Kent Hovind lied about Lucy. Did you see this one?
Is this Paleologos?
Yeah. This guy is an enigma.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
He's a younger creationist, isn't he?
Yeah, but he actually thinks about stuff and tries to find out.
That's good.
Then he won't be young Earth creationist for.
He's a young Earth, and he was putting down Ken Hovind.
Yeah, and SFT. He was fighting with SFT on one of Maddox's streams.
Oh, really?
There was hope.
It was precious.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, he was on Rebecca's stream, Bread of Life, and he's like who's that other kid? The young one that's really pretty smart.
Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
I always want to call him Jeremiah, but it's not. It's something else. Starts with a J, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. What was his name? It's on the tip of my tongue.
And these two actually think, and they're actually somebody you can have a conversation with and talk about evidence, and they'll consider it, for sure. It's kind of refreshing.
I would love to have a discussion with him on this channel. Wink, wink.
Yeah, it would be good. It would be good. A breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Who are we thinking of? Jonathan Guzman.
There we go.
Yeah. He's also a breath of fresh air. So still young Earth creationists, but I don't think they're good. If they keep going, I don't think they can stay that way. I don't know.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yep. And I'm trying to get Mr. Wolford. What is his name? Cullen, I think. Mr. Wolford, the geologist. I would like to get him on to talk about sedimentation and sedimentary rocks and the Grand Canyon, maybe a little bit. But why do we always fucking talk about the Grand Canyon? Why don't we talk about Wisconsin?
Yeah.
That would be better. For instance, we have Steve Baumann here. Did I link him? I did. I linked Geophiles, A Real History of the Huronian Glaciation, which is supposed to be one of the snowball Earth things. And Steve Baumann is exceptional. I mean, he is absolutely exceptional in his detail. He also, we linked last week or the week before, a series on plate tectonics that he did. And this is what he studies professionally and works on professionally. So he really knows what he's talking about. And he gets very little attention for how good his videos are. But he goes around Wisconsin and shows you these rock formations. And I'm looking at them, trying to imagine how a flood could have done these things. And there ain't no way. You can play around with the Grand Canyon all you want. You go to Wisconsin or Minnesota, you're not going to be able to support this flood bullshit. It just doesn't work.
Anyone know if CRISPR is still in the side chat?
Don't know.
I would like him to join. I'd like to ask him some questions, if he doesn't mind.
Yeah, that would be fine. I have many questions. Mostly about transposons lately. And I had some questions about epigenetic evolution, which I'm still trying to work out. Basically epigenetic inheritance.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find some decent material on it. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, how does it get in the germline? And I guess I'm going to have to dig into that at some point.
Do you know anything? It's relatively new.
That? Yeah. And it goes on for a few generations, except in some yeast and some fungi. I think they found cases of epigenetic inheritance that went 100 generations.
Yeah.
Something. And
that's something CRISPR could tell us about, like how much can, because I know like John likes to talk about epigenetics as being able to explain morphological diversity that we see in like the fossil record or whatnot. And that's it seems a bit extreme to me, but I don't know enough about the details to be sure.
Well, it seems like, okay, as far as getting into the germline, the female's eggs are put aside pretty much in the first 14 days of development, right? How does epigenetics affect the female? And how does that end up in the germline? Unless it goes ahead and affects those zygotes. And it, in the male germline, that's the other thing I don't know a lot about is how basically how many times male sperm replicates before, I know there's a problem with males getting over their 40s as far as birth defects. So there's obviously, because we keep generating sperm, and I don't know a lot about that. And I'd like to nail it down a little bit more. Because, you think at first blush when you hear, a female starves, so epigenetics changed her genome. Well, then how in the fuck did that get into the eggs, into the germline, right? You always gotta think germline when you're thinking about this. Like transposons jump in our somatic tissue throughout our lives, right? That's a possibility, but that isn't going to affect the germline. In order to affect the germline, it's got to be in that first few weeks of development, or in the male, in the testes somewhere. So the other odd thing about male testes is that they have expression of a whole hell of a lot of different genes are expressed in the male testes for some reason. If you look at what is transcribed, it's always higher in the testes tissues than it is anywhere else. And SFT and et al. Use that basically a false positive for that pseudogene in chromosome 2 fusion. I forgot what is it? Oh shit, I forgot what it was. I'm getting tired. Anyway, the expression was primarily in the testes, which is where the testes are where almost everything is expressed for some reason. I don't know why that is. CRISPR does know something about that. He's the one that originally told me about it about 2 years ago. So, but I don't think he's around.
Darn it, we're handing out all these. Oh, there we go. The expression is
yeah. What the hell is up with the testes? Why? How do they survive? How do we avoid?
I like the subtle joke there.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
CRISPR, come in. I'd like to talk to you.
Yep. Or I'm going to shoot her in the head. One or the other.
Do you know if anyone's... I haven't checked recently. Has anyone responded to my latest comment on the Lyle video SFT put?
Did you?
I'm not sure.
Oh, let's see. It was on the Lyle video, right? Let me go check. Or where's Stanley for Truth?
Stanley.
So the reason Andrew can join us is because of spring break this week.
Yep.
Well, I just need to say, Andrew, you need to drop out of college so you can spend time with us in the afternoons.
I wish I could, but you know what they say, education is important.
Okay, which video is that and how far back was it? Boy, he does a lot of videos.
Oh, in the comment section.
But it's on SFT's channel?
Yeah.
David McQueen.
It's on the Lyle video we went over the other day, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. Evolution. Okay, Professor David something. Oh, distance starlight.
Yeah, that one. I'm just curious if anyone has gotten back to me. I haven't gotten any notifications or anything.
Let me see. Yeah, you should get a notification if they responded. Let me see if I can even find you. Andrew, nope. No replies. You got 1 like, no replies. You got 3 likes now.
Oh, thank you.
No replies.
That's disappointing. Oh, well.
Disappointing. Okay, Top Dog, you got a bunch of links I'm going to put in my description. Some good stuff.
Yep.
Let's see.
I guess maybe if I said the specific topic, maybe CRISPR would join. Yeah. I'd like to, I guess, talk about, well, maybe you can talk to him about the epigenetics subject. What I'd like to talk about is, I think I mentioned this with him before, but I'm kind of interested in the chemistry of the genetic code and how that can relate to common ancestry, and how all of that can be used as an argument, I think.
The chemistry of the genetic code?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, well, I think I mentioned it the other day, because when I brought this up, that the genetic code is pretty solid evidence that we all share common ancestry, living species, I mean.
Right, with archaea, with eukaryotes, and with prokaryotes, yeah.
And I guess they would claim it's common design, obviously.
Right.
And I know that's not something you can falsify, but what I'm trying to see is if the genetic code that we have is exceptionally special chemically.
Okay, it's special in that it turns out to be a very, very out of all the possible genetic codes, it turns out to be very robust. But I think they did models where they found more robust codes. It could have been better.
Yeah, it's pretty robust errors. I know that.
Yeah, so Barbieri in the paper I read yesterday makes the case that became sort of a conserved evolutionary pathway that had to be developed. And once it was developed, this really highly God, what is the word I'm looking for? But with high fidelity, it copies with high fidelity based on that particular code. And once that pathway was arrived at, and because we eat each other, it became necessary for that to be highly conserved. But if you look back at prokaryotes and archaea, there are differences. There are some differences. There are some bacteria that have, I think, slightly a couple of modifications, and they use a couple of other amino acids. The other thing you can see a difference in is in the ribosome. The ribosome in eukaryotes has a ton of proteins compared to prokaryotes. Prokaryotes have less proteins, and it's really interesting. You can knock out a lot of those proteins, and the ribosome still works.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that there are different or slightly different genetic codes in different species. What's even more interesting is it turns out most of them, as far as we can tell, if not all of them, are close evolutionary derivatives of the standard, I guess you would call it, genetic code.
Yeah.
So for anyone who thinks that the genetic code itself couldn't have evolved or continue to evolve, that's not the case.
Yeah, it's highly conserved, and if it changed right now, like you can imagine, if we had a particular plant that used a different code and coded for different amino acids, we might have trouble eating that and surviving if we needed, if we had necessary amino acids that we needed to obtain, and we couldn't obtain it from that vegetable. We could, of course, break the amino acids down, in our liver and create our own, but we can't create all of them. So it would pose an interesting problem for life in general. And then it's highly conserved because of the fidelity of the replication and the process. Basically, it has high fidelity. But it obviously developed very early. In fact, it was that common ancestor for that genetic code. That was the point. Before that, there all hell breaks loose before that as far as biochemistry. Yeah. And I don't think you could even find anything like a particular species back then, because I think everything was like horizontally crazy, a lot of horizontal transfer. And it was really.
I also know there's like some talk of in the biological community that the precursor to the genetic code we have today may have actually been contained less codon to amino acid assignments than the one we have today.
And there's one good theory that outlines how it could have been 4 nucleotides per codon. And I think there was another one, I think it was an octet or something like that. It's hard to say. But anyway, when you look back at that, okay, the ribosome, the part of the ribosome and the tRNA, these are RNAs, right? And they're augmented with all these proteins. But these RNAs are what pair up to the nucleotides on the mRNA, the messenger RNA, gets read by other RNA. And when you look back at RNA chemistry, RNAs fold up, and they do that just naturally, like that little 3 codon place that recognizes the codon on the mRNA, that little loop. Those loops in RNA are ubiquitous. I mean, this is what RNAs do. It's how they fold. If you run like millions of random RNAs through this Vienna algorithm for folding RNAs, you'll find many, many different little machine-looking species of RNA. And so the thing we're trying to figure out is what would be the minimum RNA that would read another RNA, basically that would, attach to another RNA and read it and move along and create a particular protein sequence, a very small protein sequence, like 10, 20 amino acids, right? And if it would ratchet along, like jump 3 codons or 4 codons or 2 codons, and with some fidelity create the same protein over and over again, and that protein turned out to have something to do with creating more of those RNAs, then we would have the cycle that we're looking for. And that's a magic bullet that's going to solve how the codon was created.
Exciting research.
Yeah, the problem with it is that there are so many different ways that RNA can combine that we're a long ways from picking the pathway that's going to work. But there's pathways out there, millions of them.
It's like they say, DNA is the code, the codish thing, whereas RNA is kind of the do all be all kind of molecule in genetics.
Yeah. Yep. And when DNA came along, it was like the new kid on the block, and it was like, oh, I'm more stable than you are. And then it just kind of took over,
I don't know. I probably a really dumb question, but like, is the RNA hypothesis still in any shape or form relevant today in origin of life research?
I think the most accepted one at least the one that I accept, is the basically protein RNA mixture.
Okay, yeah, that's what I've heard, I think.
So peptide RNA world, and the reason for that is because these RNAs that fold up into these little machines, short peptides attach to them, and not only do they attach to them, but they stabilize them so that they don't break down, so that they won't melt out, as the temperature increases or as the environment changes. So these become very stable when you attach peptides to RNAs.
So we know RNA had some crucial element to it, but whether it was, or how exactly it fits in or helped create these chemical processes is still being worked out, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think what ribozymes were discovered around 1970, 1980, something like that. When we realized that that RNA can work like a protein to be a catalyst for a reaction. That became the big step that we needed.
Yeah. And the fact that, like you said, the ribosome is made of large components of or sections of RNA.
Yeah. I'm trying to find one of these little guys.
Telling you, man, RNA is a crucial molecule for life.
Okay, right here. Let me take a look. Let's see if I can pop this up. Good notes. PTFS.
While you're finding that, go ahead.
Okay, this is one of them right here. Basically, this is just a randomly created RNA, 2 RNAs, right? And you run through this Vienna fold, and they fold into these little shapes. Well, you see the ends up there, these dangling ends that look like an open-end box wrench. Those things will attach to amino acids. And when, like, the C at the top here, when you see where you see the A and the C, or when you see the U and the A, because these things are in 3 dimensions, if you attach amino acid to these, those 2 amino acids attach together and form a peptide, a very small protein, which is what a peptide is. And then that 2 amino acid peptide can attach to one of these ends with some affinity based on the chemistry of this thing, and it will prefer, say, a arginine, and it will attach an arginine to that peptide, and then it will attach something else, and you go through and you start building these small peptides from 2 amino acids up to 10, 20 amino acids. And then what happens is along these lines right here, can you see my cursor? Move it along the line. Okay. Along that line, a peptide will attach to this RNA, and it will stabilize it, and it will change its ability to attach amino acids. So now it may have a preference for particular amino acids that's higher. It'll have a higher affinity. So what we're looking for is the statistics of all of these different species of RNA. And we're looking for the, for the magic sequence, basically, that's going to give us what we want. And then the other thing is, like up here, this AGG, okay, is going to attach to can attach to still a 3rd RNA, and that could end up being a codon that reads an mRNA. So you can do it. So the idea is with short peptides and small RNAs that there is some way to do that entire process of creating these replicators. And we may be 100 years away from figuring out which one, because it is such a complex. So it's combinatorially complex as to how many different ways this could have happened, right?
Yeah.
So, like I just drew this from a pool of sequences where I've got maybe 12,000 of these RNAs, basically, that I matched together and paired up and all that stuff. So quite complicated. Cool. And sometimes one RNA can fold with itself. We've seen that in many cases. That's what tRNA does. It's one fold. I'm not sure if I've got a picture of tRNA around.
Am I echoing?
A little bit here and there, but I might be echoing. Oh. But anyway, so I was going to shoot it in the head.
How about now?
Shoot it in the head now, or are you echoing now? Are you echoing?
Am I still echoing?
I don't hear you.
Are you good? You're good.
Okay.
I don't hear any echoing either.
Yeah, I need a nap.
Yep, we need a nap. We all need a nap.
Yep.
I have lobster claws, so I'm going to go eat those and celebrate my 26,000th day on Earth.
Yay.
Yeah, and do it with gusto.
Yes. Like 1,000 days ago, I was out in the North Woods being stalked by a bear because I decided to walk back into this hunting area in the up north of Virginia, just a little bit south of Ely in the Boundary Waters Canoe area. I was way the hell back there, and I walked down this trail, and when I walked back, I found this whopper-sized bear print on top of my footprints. So he was obviously following me down the road.
He just wanted to talk to you about your raccoons.
He might have been. He might have wanted to wish me a happy 25,000th day.
He might have. He might have.
I'm not sure. But anyway,
bears get a bad rap sometimes.
Today, what I'm going to do is go out and chip ice. I think that's what I'm going to do for my 26,000th birthday. Who knows what I'll do on my 27,000th?
If you act like it's really, really fun, maybe the raccoons will come and start chipping the ice for you, and you won't have to do it.
Yeah. I should get them to do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, Andrew, before we go, does that make sense, what I just talked about with the RNAs and the peptides? And does that?
I think so. Roughly, okay. Yeah.
But if you have questions about that, I love talking about that stuff.
Sure, yeah.
So, and I do have a lot of samples.
And if the city comes by and says, "Why do you have so many raccoons? That's illegal," you can say, "They're not raccoons; they're my hired yard workers."
Yes, so. There you go. You can do that.
Oh, wait! Before we go offline, Nestle just joined. Do we want to give him a chance if he wants to come in or talk about anything?
Might also be interested in Thomas Holtz. YouTube, okay. He is famous.
Be able to hop in, Nestle.
Cool. We'll check his YouTube channel out. Thomas Holtz.
Dr. Holtz. He's cool.
Yeah, there's another example for you.
Oh.
Yep.
Look like different kinds of tools.
What kind of a bottle? Or a wrench.
Yeah, they're really cool little tools, every one of them. And the thing is that like a magnesium ion could end up in the center there, or a zinc ion, and it would have some other biochemical effect. And up here I have, let's see if this one is impressive or not. So unfortunately, the single folds go in black and white, but this is a single RNA folded with itself. You see the GC and the CG. So this forms its own little kind of tool too. So there's single folds and there's dinucleotides and what that would be, and there's tris, and 4 of them can fold up, and they just form all kinds of combinations. But mathematically, you can imagine the amount of combinations, the amount of enzymatic activity that they could have. I mean, it's immense.
So would you call them nanobots?
Yeah, kind of. You could call them that. But I would not want to call them machines. You could call them little tiny catalysts is what they are. Little catalysts that do things. So, and this one would not be likely to form a peptide because it only has one dangling guanine out here. And it has no dangler there. So this one would not be a really good peptide synthesis RNA. But if you had, the ones that I had with ends would be. So, where are they? Thumbnails.
I guess it would be nano tools, not nanobots, because they imply movement.
Yeah.
Bots.
This one here has these dangling ends, and those are stereochemically more likely to attach amino acids, and then the 2 amino acids attached to each other. Sort of. Amino acylation is the term. So anyway, I need to know more about this stuff, and I hope to. Okay, we're going to shoot her in the head.
Okay.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. I'm going for a nap.
Yeah, and I wanted to stick around all day, but I'm sorry, Andrew.
No, that's okay.
I apologize.
Thanks everyone for joining us.
Yep.
I love our faithful side chat.
Okay.
Stay curious.
Goodbye, cruel world.
Enjoy the